Lebanon is currently facing the re-emergence of cholera with over 6,000 suspected cases, including my parents, and 23 deaths, the majority of which are due to dehydration from extreme vomiting and diarrhea. Dying from cholera is a shitty way to die. Awful joke made on an awful disease? Check. As my parents actually got it, trust me, you don't want your loved ones to go through that. You might think of cholera as a disease that only affects poor countries with uneducated savages who drink the same water they poop in, so it doesn't concern you. Well, Lebanon used to be the Switzerland of the Middle East with a relatively well-educated population and with some good public infrastructure in place. To put it bluntly, everyone, including Westerners, will almost certainly face cholera in their lifetime due to the various crumbling infrastructure and impending climatic disasters. Please use the Lebanese collapse experience to prepare. So in this video, I will go over everything I needed to know about cholera. It's worth noting that what you will learn here about cholera will generally apply to other diseases as well, just like typhoid fever. So what exactly is cholera? Cholera is an infection of the small intestine caused by the bacteria Vibrio cholerae, which can be found in contaminated water or food. This disease spreads quickly in areas with poor sanitation. Cholera can affect both children and adults, and if left untreated, it can be fatal. The incubation period for cholera ranges from 12 hours to 5 days after consuming contaminated water or food. The bacteria can survive in food for up to 14 days. All of that makes the cholera epidemics difficult to control. The bacteria can stay in the feces of infected people for up to 10 days, even if they are asymptomatic. And all the contaminated people will shed the bacteria back into the environment, potentially infecting others. However, the symptoms can range from mild to severe in those who do experience them. The most common symptom of cholera is the severe watery diarrhea that lasts for several days. Other symptoms include nausea and muscle cramps. If untreated, cholera can cause severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalances, leading to kidney failure and even to death. As I said, the bacteria generally will only be present in our intestine for a short period of time. As a result, the doctor's role will be to rehydrate rather than to treat the infection. And this is because the rehydration can kill you in just a few hours. I've read that in some cases you can lose up to 20 liters of water. That's why antibiotics are not automatic in this disease and should be used in rare cases only. Most people infected with this bacteria exhibit no symptoms. People who are frail are more likely to contract severe cholera. Weak people actually include the children under the age of 5 because their bodies are actually more susceptible to dehydration, the people with weakened immune systems, such as people with AIDS, cancer, or even the people that got recently infected with the recent virus that we are not supposed to talk about anymore, but also the pregnant women are at increased risk of dehydration and cholera complications. Finally, the older people are also more vulnerable to cholera. Overall, weak people constitute a sizable proportion of the general population. But we've all seen it with the recent pandemic. Our society is in a full psychopath mode, willing to sacrifice weak people for the sake of a little freedom. Of course, people who don't perceive themselves as weak are unaware that they, their parents, or even their children could quickly become part of the weak. So when cholera comes to your area, don't rely on others to treat you or on public health to not be another eugenics agency. Now, how did the cholera outbreak in Lebanon resurface? The cholera outbreak in Lebanon started in impoverished areas, particularly refugee camps, before spreading throughout the country. And this outbreak is not entirely surprising. Actually, large groups of people, mostly from Syria and Palestine, have been living in these refugee camps for years with no access to clean water, to proper sanitation, or even to medical care. And Westerners do not appear to want or attempt to comprehend the number of refugees they have created and who have fled to Lebanon. It's simple. There are approximately 2 million refugees in Lebanon out of a total population of 6 million. Yes, the figures I mentioned are correct. Refugees make up 25% of Lebanon's population. Can you imagine if 1 in every 4 people around you were a refugee? Can you imagine a single country functioning normally with 25% of its population made up of refugees? The economic crisis has only amplified the unsanitary conditions in these camps and remote areas. Controlling the outbreak has been difficult due to the lack of medical equipment, drugs, and personnel. Furthermore, the power outages, water shortages, and also the inflation have put additional strain on Lebanon's already failed healthcare system. The lack of basic services such as safe drinking water and sewage networks allows bacteria to spread, resulting in new outbreaks of diseases. Lebanon's crisis, exacerbated by years of corruptions, has the potential to devastate the entire health system, just as a war or a natural disaster can. To effectively control and prevent future outbreaks of cholera and other diseases, it's critical to address the root causes of this outbreak, including the economic downturn and the poor living conditions. Let us now look at some medical considerations. Please keep in mind that I'm not a doctor, but rather a biology researcher. I will try to be accurate, but please do not take my words as a gospel, and please seek medical advice if you believe you have been exposed to cholera. And be careful, if you have been in contact with a disease called "I haven't liked this video despite being halfway through," you should quickly subscribe and leave a comment. If you love my videos and want to see more of them, you can support me on Patreon. This will allow me to continue making free videos while also directly supporting people in Lebanon. Let's return to cholera. First and foremost, do everything possible to avoid contracting cholera. Simple preventative measures can be beneficial. Hand washing with soap and clean water on a regular basis is one of the most effective ways to prevent the spread of cholera and also of other diseases. Make sure to thoroughly wash your hands after using the restroom, handling food, and before eating. If soap and clean water are not available, an alcohol-based hand sanitizer, of course, can be used. Drink safe water. Because cholera is often spread through contaminated water, it's critical that you and your family drink safe water. Here are some possibilities. Heat to water. Water that has been boiled for at least 1 minute is an effective way to kill bacteria and other contaminants. Use a water filtration system. Many contaminants, including bacteria and viruses, can be removed by water filtration systems. Water filtration systems come in a variety of configurations, including those that use a mechanical filter, chemical treatment, or ultraviolet light. If you are concerned about the safety of the water in your area, use bottled water that has been treated and sealed. I need to be very clear here. You should not drink any liquid outside your home unless you can see with your own eyes that it came from a new bottle of water. My parents got cholera after drinking orange juice from their usual supplier, but the ice cubes used to cool their drinks were most likely not made with clean water. Wash and cook food properly. To reduce the risk of contamination, thoroughly wash all fruits and vegetables before eating them. Peel them if you can. Meat and seafood should be thoroughly cooked to kill any bacteria or viruses that may be present. You must also protect your food from flies, which can carry the bacteria. Practice good hygiene. It's critical to keep your home and surroundings clean and free of debris in order to prevent the spread of cholera and other diseases. Waste should be properly disposed of either by using a toilet or burying it in a designated area. To prevent the spread of bacteria, avoid contact with feces and wash your hands frequently. Finally, several cholera vaccines are available. You may have even taken one of them, Dukoral, because in some countries with corrupted healthcare systems, it was distributed like lollipops for so-called traveler's diarrhea, despite the fact that its efficacy for this type of diarrhea was greatly exaggerated. But Dukoral is effective at preventing cholera in approximately 2/3 of people who received it. Now, what you should do if you think you may have cholera. Seek medical attention as soon as possible. Because cholera can be a serious and potentially fatal disease, it's critical to seek treatment as soon as possible. Your doctor will be able to diagnose your condition and treat it appropriately. Follow your doctor's advice. To replace lost fluids and electrolytes, your doctor will most likely prescribe rehydration therapy. To assist your body's recovery, carefully follow their instructions. If you don't live in a collapsing country, you should be able to get rehydration therapy like this one fairly easily. Simply follow the instructions on the box. But let's face it, cholera will most likely strike at a time when even basic medications will be difficult to obtain. So, from the Tokyo Metropolitan Government's disasters, that's a big one. So, from the Tokyo Metropolitan Government's Disaster Preparedness Guide, here's how to make a homemade rehydration solution. I will include a link to this guide in the description. It's extremely useful for a variety of purposes. Here's their homemade rehydration solution recipe. In 1 liter of water, dissolve 4 tablespoons of sugar, about 40 grams, and 0.5 teaspoon of salt, about 4 grams. Of course, clean water is required, directly from a bottle of water or purified or boiled water. Otherwise, reusing contaminated water could start a deadly cycle. It's critical to administer the solution in small sips so that the patient does not vomit it back up. If the person is vomiting frequently or is unable to keep the solution down, the solution may need to be administered via nasogastric tube or intravenous fluids. If a patient has any contraindications or other health morbidities, such as intestinal problems, you must consult your doctor about the rehydrating solution because it may cause them to dehydrate faster. The final point is that you must do everything possible to keep it from spreading. To prevent the spread of cholera to others, it's critical to practice good hygiene, so simply adhere to the points presented earlier in this video. Also, if you have cholera, you should avoid close contact with others to prevent the disease from spreading. By taking these precautions, you can help prevent the spread of cholera and protect yourself and your family from this potentially fatal disease. When your country's economy collapses, it can have far-reaching effects on your way of life, not just in terms of medicine shortages, but also in terms of essential goods like food or energy, as I discuss in this video. Please leave a comment if you have any question about healthcare in Lebanon right now. You can help me by supporting me on Patreon, and I'm also on Twitter and Instagram. A special thanks to my Patreon and YouTube superfans. You are the MVPs who enable me to continue making these free videos.